I'm thinking he should get naked too. If he don't get naked too, she should put some clothes on so it can be equality. You know, and then it has to be different kind of different. Don't just only show us. So this whole new thing where the young ladies were feeling like, well, it's us taking control of the sex, you know, of hypersexualizing ourselves. So that's empowerment. But I point out, I debate my students, I used to debate them all the time. I would debate the whole class if necessary, is that is an old trope. You've been able, a black woman in America has been a sex symbol or a sexual object forever. That is not new. That's a trick of somebody to make you think that's new. Like, oh, you naked humping on the ground, that's empowering. No, I can show you some old stuff from that. That's old. You've been able to be that, right? You've been able to be any of those, or glorifying being a prostitute. You know, I take money and do all this kind of stuff. Well, you've been classified in that way, right? So that's not new, people. So if you want to be fresh, you gotta do something else, because that's not new. But what? Let me ask you all, where do you think hip hop is going? Then I'm gonna take some questions out here. So where do you think hip hop is headed?
It needs to go backwards.
Hip hop is.
Seriously, because even this whole subject we're talking about is like hip hop created this. No, see, I guess I am the oldest one up here, so you understand. When I was look, my hero was Buckwheat. Okay, that's the only one I saw on the TV all the time. No, man, look, I even had that. I went to a phone thing the other night and I wore my Buckwheat tie.
Buckwheat.
Yeah, Juneteenth. Look, you know the first black man to ever have a TV show on was Nat King Cole for 15 minutes every Monday in New York. All right, the neighborhood, we were the few families that had a TV. The neighborhood would be empty for 15 minutes so we could see a black man on TV. Bottom line is the system ain't no different for music than it is for entertainment. It's all entertainment. And who controls that controls us.
Absolutely.
And that's what's been happening with the major label. And there's one other thing. There's a documentary that was done about Chicago called Record Row. That's on Michigan Avenue from 12th Street to Cermak. Those 10 blocks. There were more black record labels than any city in the country back in those days. And like the Black Godfather,
What's the name of it again, George?
Record
Row.
R-O-W.
Okay.
You pull it up on your phone, whatever. It is the most interesting thing, but it'll give you a sense of pride about your city. Just like hip hop described their cities in every city. Yeah. This is what hip hop was. It is. It still is. But what's happening now? There's no empathy in our music. There's no nothing. I mean, no slow jams. Look, I'll go to a club now, 20s and 30s, 40s, all night long, humping bottle service and what have you. You dig? I mean, there's nothing about community there, and this is not hip hop. This is street destruction.
Wow.
Because see, with this thing now, kids can sell music to kids.
Yeah.
Look, the most valued video game in America with kids is Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And you add that up to the music that they're being exposed to. It ain't hip hop.
Okay. I think it's one thing important, in that, George, I want to tease out what you said is that, and we have this conversation in academia all the time. I'm like, we have to attend to creative production, right? Because that's what influences the masses. You can't just do it in a class in a book, because we have to look at the images, the
control.
Right, yes, exactly.
And see, that's where the big money comes in.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell our children the truth.
That's right.
Our babies are going to grow up with these lies, and this is what's happening now.
But listen, this is an old argument. So during the Harlem Renaissance, you had Alain Locke, right? And Du Bois had this debate about art for art's sake, where Du Bois said all art you have to be responsible, because all art is propaganda. So with all art you're selling something. Alain Locke was like, it's just art, like we hear people saying about some rappers, like it's just art. You can't hear, it's just art. But what we know for black communities and other black and brown communities is that the world is a classroom, so everything we do is a teaching tool, because that's how we learn. So our music teaches us, and for other people as well, but not like it does for us, for black and brown people, right? So in academia, I was getting these great debates, and then I said, well, drive down 79th Street when Nicki Minaj was out, every bus stop is pink heads, all just up and down the street. So if you want to talk about influence, you can't ignore these people and just say like, oh, you know, like academicians try to push them to the side. I'm like, no, we have to engage these people because they're influencing the. So that's why it matters what kind, and we have to engage young artists to show them something else so that they can have, and then you have to buy their music so that they can make money off of something else. Where do you think it's going, Patrick?
The future of, I love this question because that's all